Welcome to the Aid to Assets podcast, the ultimate podcast for aspiring real estate investors. I'm your host, Tiffany Watson. Join me as we discuss real estate investing for 9 to 5.
Like, your work ethic should never change based on the result.
You cannot put a price tag on your safety.
When you can understand the foundation and how we got here, it will give you direction on how it could potentially go.
If you want to get some real estate, the best way to get it is to start investing in real estate. And that's what I'm saying. Tax liens and tax deeds is the best way.
So we are meant to be in movement and in constant motion, in constant discovery of ourselves. And that's why we get to explore so many different things of ourselves.
This is your Aid to Assets. Do you go out to eat without knowing how you are going to pay for the meal that you're about to consume? So why would you approach real estate any differently? It's time for Real Estate Talks with Tiffany, and today we're going to talk about your pre-qualification and why it is so important. So for those that do not know, when you are looking to purchase property in real estate, whether that is a home for you to live in or an investment property, one of the first things you need to do if you are going to finance this property is to get pre-approved. The reason why the pre-approval is so important is because it is the pre-work needed in order to let you know how much house you can qualify for and what all do you need in order to be able to do so. Tiffany, what does that mean? So let's say, for example, I was looking to purchase a new home for me to live in. I want to get a pre-approval so that way I can start to look at homes in my budget. My pre-approval is going to tell me this is how much you can afford based on how much money you make each month and the current debts that you have. Now, I am also going to have to be very honest and say, in addition to what I can be approved for, what lifestyle do I actually want to live and how does that match up with the budget? Because let me go ahead and tell you, the bank is likely going to approve you for more than what you may comfortably be able to afford or what you should be spending. We don't want to be house poor. What that means is we go buy a house and then we broke. We are poor because all of the money is going towards our living expenses. That is no way to live. In order to know what you can comfortably spend on a mortgage, regardless of what the bank says, you need to have a budget. Now, there are all sorts of budgets that you can adopt. However, you want to make sure that the most important thing is that you have a budget you're actually going to use. A very common one is the 50-30-20% budget rule, where 50% of your budget or the money that you have coming in each month goes to your needs, your necessities. This includes your housing expenses, utility, truck payment, car payment, whatever you may have. Then 30% of your budget is going to go to your wants, and 20% of your budget is going to go towards saving and investing. This is just one rule of thought. There's a resource that you can find below that explains the 50-30-20% rule if you want to try this out, a budget template for yourself. But with 50% of your budget going to your needs, a part of a major need that you have is your living expenses. But you don't want that to be the full 50% because you still have to pay, like I mentioned, car payments, health insurance, food, gas, utilities. So in real estate, the general rule of thumb is about 28% of your income should be the max that you spend on your living expenses. Now, again, you adjust this to your lifestyle and your budget. Of course, I'm always going to advocate to have less than what you need to give yourself that wiggle room, but you have to make sure that that makes sense in your market and based off what those numbers look like. So you don't want to be house poor because you just purchased a property and all of your money is now going into the house. So you don't have no money for nothing else. Now, granted, yes, you want to stay and enjoy the house that you just purchased, but you don't want this blessing to now feel like a burden. Right? Generally speaking, 28% is a good rule of thumb for you to set your budget of what you want to spend on your mortgage. So you want to know, what does that number actually look like? The bank may tell you more. That doesn't mean that's what you need to spend. And there are calculators that you can use where you can say, this is how much I want my total mortgage payment to be. Now, what I recommend for my clients is we don't just look at your mortgage, but we also get an approximate estimate of your principal, which is the actual balance on your mortgage, the interest that you're going to pay. So we look at what are the current interest rates. This may fluctuate a little bit depending on when you close, and we adjust accordingly. Plus the taxes, the property taxes for the property that you're considering, and then the insurance costs. because these are the 4 biggest components of your mortgage payment. So your mortgage is not just the mortgage amount on the loan, but it's the principal, the interest, the taxes, and the insurance. So you want to know how much of that can I comfortably afford, 28% of your budget. That's the max that you want to put as you're looking for houses. And there are calculators where you can say, this is how much I want to spend each month on my mortgage. And then it'll tell you, based off of that monthly mortgage payment, this is how much house you can afford. You want to make sure that your pre-approval is within that same budget that you feel comfortable. And then the houses that you are looking at are in that budget range. There's nothing worse than falling in love with the house you can't afford, because then you're going to be asking yourself some really hard questions for some people. Hey y'all, Tiffany here. Are you looking to purchase or sell real estate? As you know, I'm your aid to assets, and I want to help you with all of your real estate endeavors. Whether you're local here like me in the Fayetteville, North Carolina area, I can then help you purchase or sell your next property. If you're looking to purchase or sell outside of North Carolina, let me know too. I can still help you. I have a team of agents all over the country that I can connect you with to partner on your next deal. Let's get to the closing table, y'all. We buy our way to wealth, whether that's buying right or selling better. Can't wait to hear from you. Click on the link in the bio if you want more information on how to personally work with me or an agent on my team. Talk to you soon. Can I stretch it to make it work? I really want this. And so am I willing to sacrifice paying more for what I really want? Or am I going to stick in my budget because what I really want the most is for the numbers to make sense? Now, y'all know I'm an investor agent, so if the math ain't mathing, I'm not buying nothing. I have to stay in my budget, which is one of the reasons why I'm such an asset to my clients, because I'm going to remind them of their budget. House hunting can be very emotional. It's easy to get tied up, especially when you're talking about money, whether you want to spend it or you want to save it. I want to save it. All the money, all the time. I can be real cheap in real life, y'all. That's why I'm the friend that you want to have to remind you, is this really how you want to put your dollars to work? Now, you're going to do what you want to do. And as your realtor, I'm going to get you the house that you want. But I am going to ask you that question. And it's important to have people on your team that are going to remind you of the boundaries that you set in place for yourself before you got caught up in the emotion, right? So that pre-approval is going to give you the freedom and the confidence to know any house that I find within this budget that I fall in love with, I can comfortably afford. And I've already started the paperwork to make this home buying process significantly easier. Because one, I already have a lender, so I already have an idea of how much this is going to cost me, what the requirements are, what the paperwork. Some of the hardest part of getting a loan for some people is just gathering the documentation that you need. But you won't know what the documentation you need is unless you start to have the conversation. So today's tip of the day: if you are thinking about purchasing a home, talk to a lender, go get pre-qualified, see what you need to get in order to start having that conversation. Reach out to your realtor of choice. They always have lenders that they partner with on deals that can have that conversation for you. If you do not have a realtor or have someone that you trust, feel free to send me a DM or give me a call, and I have lenders that I work closely with that can support you regardless of what your goals are. Start having the conversation, and you'll probably realize home ownership is a lot closer than you might think. Talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another insightful episode of Aid to Assets. Remember, your journey from 9-to-5er to successful real estate investor is within reach. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep investing in your future. If you'd like to know more, connect with me on Instagram at Aid to Assets. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Until next time, happy investing.